if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call to order this regular session of the Vienna City Council. Having taken roll and having a quorum, we will proceed. The first item that we have on our agenda this evening is our public forum. And we have three individuals that have signed up this evening to speak. The first of which is Henry Sasson. Henry Sasson.
Harry.
He's got brothers somewhere?
Hey, Harry. It's a better looking, more talented, older brother, maybe in this case.
More like grandfather. Henry Sasson, 1307 Greenbond Hills Drive in Vienna. Some of you, I know, some of you I don't. I'm the guy in the white brick house, green shutters. Why am I at the stand? I'm talking about by the residents of Greenmont are here. It's because of the house that's in Greenmont Circle. I found out about it this afternoon after Lauren Childers texted me on Teams from work, and also Nikki Mildred. And then Chad sent the email to the City Council from what everybody found out. Going through, I was against something like this during the last administration where people were complaining about, and I'm against it now. I mean, going through, you know, I'm a long resident in West Virginia, apart from 3 years when I lived overseas in Asia. West Virginia constantly gets crapped on, and enough's enough. I mean, this is a residential zoning area. It needs to be kept that way. The listing agent didn't know. The seller didn't know. Nobody knew. And then at the end, you know, they slide the LLC in and boom, you got this. This is residential. It's not a home for 10 or 12 different people to live in that home that aren't related. Going through, I'm not an attorney, but we do have attorneys that live in Greenmont. We got doctors, and when people start calling me and texting me, I said, the doors ought to be knocked down. This place ought to be packed. I asked that this be an agenda item for next meeting, which is November 11th or 14th. And then we can have more information out to the community. I would like to know this company or establishment or the 501c or whatever is, who's leading it. Because I guarantee you they don't have a pair to come into this room or council chambers to talk to us about the quick one they tried pulling on us. Also, I bet you if we as residents would decide, or the Vienna residents, to do the same thing and flip it and crap in their backyard, I don't think they'd like it either. So if you're watching me, I dare you to come into our chambers because you're a coward. Thank you.
Chris Felt.
Ironically, I don't think it was intended to go from 1307 to 1309 Greenmont Hills Drive, so my neighbors here.
You guys talked earlier.
To answer your question, Henry, on the filings through the Secretary of State's office, it's a gentleman by the name of John Kinley in San Carlos, California, as the registered running the LLC. So, first off, as a safety and health professional, I want to begin by expressing support for individuals who are going through recovery and appreciate those organizations that do try to help those individuals to provide those life-changing assistance. Access to safe and supportive housing is essential, and we value those who dedicate themselves to this work. My concern is not necessarily with the mission of recovery, but with ensuring that appropriate land use and zoning ordinance are in place. The program operates as a structured fee-based group residence home serving up to 10 individuals, each contributing monthly payments to the LLC for living arrangements. Functionally, this makes this a service providing business in a single family neighborhood. Single family residential areas are designed for low density living and do not provide transportation access, on-site professional support, or mixed-use infrastructure that these programs typically need to be successful. Community-based service residents are often more successful when placed in zones planned for higher density housing or near those support services. We respectfully request that the council consider the zoning consistencies, and I do appreciate the efforts that the council has put forth so far today in reaching out to our federal officials, our state officials, and all those that can be assistance in this. And I agree with Councilman Sasson by making this an agenda item on the next council meeting. And I would almost request summoning the company's owner and founder and their board to come to the next council meeting and present why they did this to the citizens of Vienna. With that, I yield my time.
Jill Kirk.
Hello, my name is Jill Kirk, and I do not.
If you can step over to that microphone, that way we can get you picked
Can you hear
up.
me now?
There you go.
Okay. My name is Jill Kirk. I do not have anything formally prepared because I didn't know that we would be allowed to speak tonight, but I do appreciate the time. And I live at 1156th Street, which I am one of 3 properties who actually border this house in question. I have lived in Greenmont for 29 years. Prior to this, I lived directly across the street from this house. When I purchased my home there in 1996, one of the reasons I did it is because it was a safe community with restrictions on what could happen in the community. I was actually pregnant with my daughter at the time and had a 4-year-old son. And one of the reasons I wanted to live in that community and in Vienna was because of how safe it is. And there was certain restrictions there. Then I found out about this today, so obviously I, along with the rest of them, am extremely upset about it and concerned because now, my husband and I, we're elderly now, and I'm frankly, I'm just scared, very scared about having that type of house there in the neighborhood. And I do, I also feel for people who are struggling. I do. I mean, I think everybody knows someone who does have a problem. But I do not think that that is what that house was ever intended to be used for. And I certainly appreciate all the efforts of what you've already gone through and the efforts that I'm sure you'll continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to stress to everyone and everybody that may be watching that we hear the concerns, we understand the concerns, and we are here elected to represent you and those concerns at every level that we can. I will continue to do that. I know that the council that sits here before you tonight will continue to do that, and we will ensure that your voice and your concerns are heard at every level we can possibly do. The only thing I ask is that it's going to be a process, and just ask for your patience. I will keep you up to date with where we're at and what we're doing, so that we can provide transparency on that level. But I will work to keep you informed as we continue to address this problem. But I thank each of you for coming out and speaking this evening. Moving on, the minutes from the October 9, 2025 meeting have been printed, published, and circulated. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, the minutes will stand as submitted. Moving on through our agenda this evening, we have 2 items under our unfinished business, and that is the second reading of 2 separate ordinances. The first is a ordinance prohibiting the operation of electric bicycles and motor scooters by persons 15 years of age or younger, with exceptions. Do you need to reread that, Mr. Skogstad?
I'm sorry.
Or if you just want to summarize.
Well, I've sent out, sorry, I was distracted by the previous issue. I sent out a copy of the ordinance that was passed with amendments to you all through the email. And then I have attached to that, and of course that ordinance sits before you tonight.
And the copy that you have should have the amendment that was made to the fine and what have you in the last paragraph. I also sent out about 9, taking into consideration all the individuals that have asked, the council members and so forth. I also prepared about 9 individual amendments so that you could have an opportunity to look at those, and those have either amendments that have been suggested to me or to the mayor, and I have those 1 through 9, and then and you can vote on them individually, or I've also taken the liberty of preparing on probably the 3rd page of your printouts, as I lovingly call a one large amendment incorporating all of the amendments that could be done in one motion. And it basically it does just that. It takes all of the proposed amendments. The only thing I would point out to you is that paragraph 8, the penalties section, all that is set out as a separate amendment in and of itself. It would be changing that again. I know council had voted on that previously to modify it, but if you look at it, it has a 3-tier fine system, essentially. The first being a written warning, second being a fine, and third being an enhanced penalty. I don't know how much you want me to explain, how much you want me to get into the proposed ordinance, but essentially, the original draft of the ordinance said basically all motorized scooters based on our definition of motorized scooters, except for the class 1 and class 2 bicycles, would be banned. Well, I think the procedure is we need to move and second
Yes.
this.
Then we'll have
and then
Yes,
we'll talk.
that's correct.
But I just want to make sure everybody had the same piece of legislation.
So do I have a motion to accept on second reading the ordinance as submitted?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. As we open for discussion, what I'd like to, do you want me to do this or do you want to do it?
However you want to do it.
Obviously, we had the first reading of the ordinance, and the way that the system works, and if there are those here to go through and understand the process, when we do an ordinance, we have the first reading, and that is basically, what I consider the rough draft. We put it forth, and that gives us an opportunity to speak about it, to have conversation about it, because we can't get together outside of this council chamber as a group and sit down and hash this stuff out. We have to do it here. So when the ordinance was first brought up, there was obviously, question and suggestions that were being made. One of the things that I did was ask Tony to come up with and work with our city attorney on basically what, amendments would look like that would bring this into line, that would be both suitable for us to pass, and that would be safe, and that would provide a way forward. In working with him and with our city attorney, I put together and made recommendations on where we needed to make updates and go. And from that, we want to, in doing this collectively, the point is to have this apply to individuals under the age of 15. So it would be up to 14 years, 364 days until their 15th birthday, if that makes sense. So individuals under the age of 15, this would apply to. There was an amendment added for a definition of a low-speed scooter, and through the research and the conversation, when we looked at the thresholds of what defined the various levels of scooters, the threshold of 19 miles an hour was the manufacturer's recommendation for what separated from that a child would be riding compared to getting into the adult ages. It also goes basically hand in hand with the restriction through the state on Class 3 e-bikes, which has a limit of 20 miles an hour for that operation. So you see amendments before you to limit, or that would set a speed limit basically of 19 miles per hour on these low-speed devices or mini scooters for individuals under the age of 15. We made recommendation under Amendment 8 to change the fee structure. The first would be written warning and corrective training. I was asked what corrective training meant in that fashion, and that would be the officer letting the individual know what they had done wrong, what they needed to do to operate it safely, then to give them the correct instruction. The second offense would have a fine of no less than $25 and no more than $150. This is determined by the city court judge, and correct me if I'm speaking out of line. You see written on bullet number 3, it has 150. We would like to actually move that to no less than 100 on the third offense, then a max with 250 on that. Again, we're addressing, and we have the definition of the low-speed mini scooters that has the limitation of 19 miles per hour on it. In the age of those individuals that would be affected by this would be individuals under the age of 15, so 14 and those days older down. I think that was it. Russ, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Just to sum it up, for the ordinance that you have right now without amendments says basically if you're 15 or under, you can't ride anything that you can sit or stand on that's made for one person to sit or stand on that's powered by gas or electric, that has a speed of, I think it was 15 miles and 10 miles an hour over. Unless your mom and dad are watching you, they're actually within ear sight, or it's as the state defined it, a class 1 or class 2 low speed motor electric bicycle. All right, that's the ordinance that you have. If you have a violation, both the parents and the child, in theory, well, not in theory, the parents could be fined. Our fine structure, I think, the first offense was 50 to 250. The second or subsequent was 250 to 500. And I think that should actually be 150. But whatever. So that's the ordinance that you have. So what we've done is we've taken the feedback. I've taken the feedback that's been given to me, drafted multiple amendments. You now have 8 or 9 amendments that you can do individually, or because we've gotten the feedback that we have, I've made a motion that changes it from 15 and under to 14 and under. It changes the speed limit from 10 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour, which is consistent,
19.
or 19 miles an hour, which is consistent. Well, that's the top. That's the
Max speed.
Max speed of the device. But essentially, it's consistent with what we have in our school zones. Allows kids a little more freedom to ride some of these devices. Still takes some of the ones that are a little more treacherous, and that's where we're at. So, if anybody has any specific questions, I'd certainly like to answer.
So, to me, for logically to take care of business, I'd like to make a motion to rescind the penalty structure that we passed at the last council meeting in order to facilitate the new structure.
Well, you can, yeah, what you would do is you would make a motion to amend the penalties, which I think we have I did an amendment number 8. So you're making a motion to amend paragraph 7.1 penalties to read.
No, I'm just making the motion to rescind what we did last council meeting.
And turn it back
and
to
then
what
we can
was.
do this all one fell swoop.
So you want to amend, you want to incorporate all of the amendments with the exceptions.
I just want to rescind what changes we made at the last council meeting, and that was the penalty structure where we increased those amounts.
Okay, you want to go back to the original penalty of 50 to, I think it was 50 to $150.
I just want to rescind.
You want to rescind no penalties at all?
I just want to rescind what we decided at the last council meeting.
If we pass this amendment, it will override that.
Is it, okay.
Yeah, it
Now
is.
withdraw.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got what you're saying.
I just want to be consistent.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
This will override that, and I want to be clear in the printout. It says on the third offense 150. I would like to change that to 100.
What about the second offense, 25 to 150? You want that?
25 to 150 will remain, and the third offense will be 100 to 250.
Yeah, and the reason why I was asking about the last council meeting, changes we made was, Russ, I understood you wanted that as a separate,
Amendment?
yeah, but since you said this is all one,
Yeah,
one, then I'm fine with that.
If the motion that it sounds like it's going to be made is that we adopt the one amendment, and we'll go through each of the changes briefly individually, but so that they're identified. But if you're wanting to adopt it, as I've drafted it, with that penalty being changed from $150 to $100 for the third or subsequent offense, then we can make a motion to do that.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion for one large amendment incorporating all of the above amendments that can be done in one motion.
I need you to say that 3 times. I have a motion to accept all of the amendments at one time that were reviewed. Do I have a second?
And adding a $100.
Yeah.
With the
With the
$100
$100.
to the third or subsequent offense.
Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the amendments as before you?
All right, just so we're clear for the record, the amendments that we're adopting are in paragraph 2C, changing the definition of motorized scooter to include low-speed mini scooters or motor-driven cycle under West Virginia Law of Municipal Code, incorporating the definition of a low-speed mini scooter as it's set out, 350 watts and half horsepower with a maximum speed of 19 miles per hour, incorporating the definition of the electric personal assistive mobility device, changing the definition to the maximum speed of 19 miles an hour. Prohibition allowing 14-year-olds, or a prohibition, changing it from 15 to 14 years of age or under, not being allowed to ride, operate, or otherwise use an motorcycle, motorized scooter, EPA, MD, low-speed mini scooter is defined, moped, motorcycle, motor-driven cycle, or class 3 electric bicycle on any for recreational or transportation purposes, any sidewalk and so forth. Modifying paragraph 3C to incorporate the definition of an EPA, MD, low-speed mini scooter as it's set out there in paragraph 3C 1, and changing the age to 14 years, incorporating the low-speed mini scooter EPA MD under 3C2, low speed, with changing the age to 14 and incorporating EPA MDs there as well. And then under paragraph 8, changing the penalties to first offense, written warning with corrective training, second, a fine of not less than $25, no more than $150, third or subsequent, $100 to a $250 fine. Is that
There was one thing you kept referring to, the 14, it's under the age of 15.
14 years of age or under is what I meant to say.
We were going to change the language to under 15 years of age. Not 15
Under the age of
above, but
15.
under the
Well,
age.
14,
You could be 14 years old in 3 months and someone's gonna say I'm okay. That's why we said that.
It was the
Under the age of
concern.
15.
Yeah, the concern was somebody would say, well, I'm not 14, I'm 14 and a half.
well, okay, if you guys want to do that, that's fine, but I'm going to tell you that you're 14 until you're 15.
Yeah.
You're 14 and 3/4 until you're 15. You're 14 and 11/12 until you're 15. So, but if you guys want, we can do that.
Any other discussion?
I just wanted to say, I believe Mr. Skogstad became the most educated low-speed mini scooter person in the city of Vienna throughout this process. But I do really appreciate, this was a lot of time and effort and collaboration to get it written, but I think it better serves the city. I think this is ultimately about keeping our children safe. Which I think that's been on everybody's mind from the very beginning, is how are we going to keep the kids, keep our children safe. And at the same time, I think it's also been an opportunity to realize we got an education opportunity for teaching the kids, hey, there's stop signs for a reason. We need to obey stop signs. We need to, there's laws in place that we have to abide by. And I think it's a good lesson for our kids and maybe an opportunity for us to educate, the elementary school kids and the middle school kids that, need to follow these rules, so.
Absolutely. Is there any other discussion? Having a motion and a second to accept the amendments as proposed in its entirety, signify by raising your right hand. Are you still discussing?
14 or 15?
It's 14.
We're gonna stick with.
We're gonna stick with the 40, because he said that covers.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All in favor, hands up. There we go. All the amendments pass. Having accepted the amendments in their entirety, we have a motion and a second already to pass the second reading of this ordinance. All those in favor of passing the second reading with amendments, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
I'll send a clean copy here shortly.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the second item on the unfinished business is the second reading of the ordinance authorizing the sale by internet auction on gov.deals of city property. Mr. Skogstad, do you?
I don't have a copy of that in front of me.
You don't have a copy?
No, I do
You are getting half a star.
not. That's good. Hopefully I'll make it up on this house thing.
Yes. You want this?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
This is an ordinance authorizing for sale by internet auction at govdeals.com certain items of personal property, not real estate, including vehicles, cleaning equipment, chairs, machinery, power motor, various other items, be ordained by the common council of the city of Vienna. That as per West Virginia Code 81218B and Vienna Municipal Code 10705C, City of Vienna hereby offers for sale the following items. I'm not going to go through a list of all the items, but they are listed in the written ordinance. But there are, I believe, at least 5 vehicles, random 2014 Cricket Auto Mop, 2005 Jeep Liberty, 10-foot swimming pool, slide with ladder, tapping machine, flow hook, manual sewer flow meter. The most important part of all this is the Vienna City Council authorizes the finance director to use the internet auction account previously utilized at govdeals.com and to issue the appropriate notices as required by state code municipal ordinance.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the second reading of this ordinance? I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second and a third and probably a fourth if Kevin would give an opportunity. Open for discussion.
Yes, on that list that you went through real quick,
Sorry.
that's fine, that's good. There are 15 metal folding tables that the park department has. It comes to my attention that these tables can be fixed, and I'd like to remove that particular item from the list.
So, if you want to do that, just make a motion and this would be seconded and so remove it.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm cutting Rodney off tonight, okay?
He says, why are you still talking? Well, we can make this easy, right?
So, yeah, they can be used for any outdoor activities the city may have. So I make that motion to remove 15 tables from the list.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Having no further discussion, I have a motion and a second. Do all those in favor of passing the amendment of removing the, how many are there? 15 metal folding tables from the list, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, the same? No, there's no opposition, that's great. Now having a motion and a second to pass the second reading of this ordinance, to include the amendment made. Is there any other discussion? Having no other discussion, all those in favor of passing the ordinance on the second reading pertaining to the internet sale of certain city items, signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. We do not have any new business this evening. Moving on to reports and standing boards and committees.
The planning commission meets next Monday evening at 5:30. And in that meeting, we will be going over the Chris Mancuso's amendments that he wanted a new plan. That we've already voted on which to include and which to exclude. But when I read the West Virginia Code, it appeared that it needed to be worded. I mean, not just the topic, but we had to have it actually written out for it to be voted on. And then when that is incorporated into the comprehensive plan, well, we'll have to have a public hearing then to do that, and then it will come to city council. But anyone that wants to look at that, that'll be available by that day, I hope. I'm still working on it. And, please come to the planning commission meeting and give your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Any other boards or reports, or are we ready for council comments?
I was talk about the finance part because it's instead of later. We typically have our meeting on the first Tuesday of the month at 4 o'clock, but no one's able to do that date. And then we would always default to the second Tuesday, which was the 10th, but that's Veterans Day. So we have a decision that we're going to meet on November 6th at 4 p.m. You're good with that, right, Riley?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Very good. Go ahead.
Just an update on the hockey rink. So the cracks have been filled. So the place is a lot safer now. The barrier nets are supposed to be here tomorrow. And then assuming that they get here tomorrow, they'll be able to get it installed and possibly ready for public use this weekend, possibly if we get the nets. And then as soon as we get a break in the weather, they're going to get a seal coat on the asphalt itself to make it a little safer for skating and running around.
So, very good.
Coming right along.
All right, moving on to council comments. Mr. Sassen.
So nobody forgets Halloween, October 30th from 6 to 7:30, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's number one. The other thing was from when I spoke earlier and the residents up in Greenmont spoke, going through just a general comment, Wood County has more beds and facilities for rehab than any county in the state of West Virginia. Enough's enough. Thank you.
We want to do a reminder to anybody that may be watching, as kids are trick-or-treating, be cautious and be safe. If you are operating golf carts with kids on them, adult-driven, be mindful of those individuals that are walking, and be aware of your surroundings so that everybody can come home safe and enjoy all of their candy. Any other comments?
Yes, I'd like to thank everyone for supporting and coming out for the Glow on the O we had last weekend. It was perfect. The balloonists even said when they saw the weather that it was going to be good, they just didn't realize how perfect it was going to be. It was virtually, the wind stopped at 6:30 when things started. So it was a great event. We had 7,000 to 8,000 people out there. Everyone who participated, I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank the city council and the mayor for their support and continued support.
It was an incredible event, and if you haven't checked out any of the social media posts, especially those from the MOV drone that took a lot of the aerials, it was absolutely incredible. And everybody did a tremendous job, and I'm just very thankful for it. So with that, meeting adjourned.
I sent you a clean copy of the ordinance.